How well do you feel your diagnosis was handled, and what do you wish you could change?
I've had 2 rounds of it, the diagnosis, because 25 years ago I was first told about it, and that was a shock, because I had a schoolmate whose dad used to take vials of insulin out of a fridge and big needles, and I hate needles. I have a real phobia about them. So I was frightened by that. I'm then brought back in and told that the tablets aren't working. They're going to have to put me on insulin, and that felt like I'd been run over by a truck.
I diagnosed myself thanks to Google. I had all these symptoms going on.
One thing. I thought you're never allowed to do that.
And no. Don't tell anybody. So I had everything going on. I checked up on the symptoms. I basically said to myself, hoping it wasn't true, but I said to myself, I must be diabetic or have diabetes. And went to the clinic, had the test done, and they came back to me and said, yep, you've got it. They literally said, you've got diabetes, you're now going to the hospital, and that's it. So the whole diagnosis part was frustrating, but it was more an unknown for me. They initially thought I was type 2, put me on tablets and an eating regime. And I think about 6 months later, I went back in. And they eventually said, no, this is not working for you, you are definitely type 1. Nothing's changed, it's still very high, and they had to put me on insulin then.
Yeah, we hear that a lot actually with people, particularly who are like over the age of 25. Like there's an assumption that they go for type 2
Yes, that's right.
diagnosis first, try the tablets, and then, yeah, we hear that story a lot actually.
The one thing, and it's only with hindsight I've got this, but the one thing I wanted answered was why.
Yeah.
You know, and that's to this day still not really sure. And it's not like, you're expecting a doctor to stand there with an X-ray and sort of point it and go, well, you see this here, that's what. It wasn't that at all. Yeah. It's just you've got it. Yeah. When they said, cut out smoking, well, I don't smoke. Stop drinking, I don't drink. Do more exercise. I'm running sort of 15 mile a day. What do you want me to do? Because it comes back to that point you said, let's try this. That's the one thing I don't want to hear. Mm-hmm. I want to hear, okay, this is what's happened with your body. This is what we think we can do given what your body's been doing.
It kind of gets diagnosed as type 1 diabetes, your body doesn't make enough insulin. Type 2 diabetes, your body doesn't use insulin well. But already you can see, well, you could have both of those conditions, and there are so many other things involved in the regulation of blood glucose that are just go undiagnosed right now, and that's what you're saying. You want to see that. It's like, this thing is not working. Your glucagon, your amylin, your adrenaline, whatever, all these different pieces for you are what's broken, and here's the targeted solution for those things.
You've got together this, you've started this company. How long ago did you start this company?
About 4.5 years.
Okay, so the vision that you had 4.5 years ago, what was it?
So my business partner, Isabella, actually has been taking insulin for 26 years now. And so she's fully aware that no one knows exactly how much. There's no right and known amount of insulin to take in any given situation. And there's hundreds of decisions a day, lots of trial and error. And so what we wanted to do was to make something that would address that load of having to do that just constantly be thinking about what you've already done in the past that might be affecting you, what you're going to be doing in the future that might affect you, and then what's the right decision to make now. And so that's what we really wanted to go after, was that decision-making load, and really to be able to help people to do that much more quickly and get a better quality of life.
So 4.5 years down the line, how far have you got with that? Has your vision changed, or are you still on the same path?
I think it's not changed overall, actually. I think we're onto the right problem, actually, to reframe the self-care problem as a quality of life problem, as opposed to a chasing blood glucose problem, and then using the results of that problem solving to close gaps in science. We firmly believe that's the right track, actually. We don't believe diabetes is going to be solved in a lab. It's going to be solved through the knowledge of people like you who are taking insulin every day. Making technology for such a massively diverse population that's really personalized and relevant, and fits to an individual's unique experience. I don't think I had any idea just how diverse this group is and what it was going to take to build this kind of technology. If the duration of your regular appointments were doubled, how would you use the extra time?
I've got twofold here. I think one of the things that I don't struggle with, but my family struggles with, is actually understanding it. So if our appointments were to be doubled, I would like to invite a family member into the sessions with, so they can start getting an understanding of how this works. When I take, why I take, what I do, it helps the family understand. And I think I've got a 9-year-old child who, it's taken a while for him to get used to seeing me inject, because he's like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? But I think, having a professional talk to the family and to help them actually understand, digest what it means and what this means for me and what it can mean for the family. The second one would be to take the time to really go through each and every detail of what's been going on for the last maybe 6 months, maybe more than that, when you meet with your diabetic practitioner, to really understand exactly what's going on. Because for me, I feel it's far too short to have a look at your little book that you've got with all your readings and go, okay, you're good, no, you're bad, what can you do to improve, and maybe it might work, and that's it. There's no real delving into the depth of what actually is taking place and how we can change that.
I think one of the things that keeps coming up whenever we're talking about how the medical profession has kind of dealt with us from South Africa to London kind of thing, is that the information we get back, you don't quite trust. If we're honest, do you trust the NHS? Okay, there's not the equivocal yes here. So if we don't trust them, why should we trust you?
I can't actually, live in your shoes, but I can try my best to listen to what you're experiencing and use the skills and the experience and the gifts that I have to attempt to create a solution that could make your life better. So I think probably I would hope you could trust me because I listen. What are the challenges that you face on a daily basis as a person with diabetes? What's the most challenging thing about managing your blood glucose?
It's not knowing. It's from day to day. It's depending on, you're saying about the stress. I think I don't get stressed, but then the combination of that, how much exercise I've done. Food is never the problem, because I know I'm going to eat at least 4 times in a day. That's what I live for. That's a motivator for me.
What's your biggest challenge in working with people with diabetes?
And the kind of judgment that you talk about, the kind of expectations that get placed on people who take insulin are unrealistic. And I think these little things that have hurt people over time that stack up into anger. One of our values as a company is show love, and it's really just to have unconditional positive regard for every person that we come in contact with. What do you think is needed to improve the relationship between healthcare professionals and people with diabetes?
I'd say it's bringing information together, because it's out. There's information out there. It's how do you bring it together and use it? Because at the moment it feels like it's just all in sort of silos almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not working against, but they're not working together.
Yeah.
It's integrating the information.
Yeah.
You brought up a very good point about listening. And I think that's extremely important as well. Listening and using that information to inform how we're going to move forward with this.
Yeah, I don't want to be a burden on the NHS either, like now or in 10 years' time. So it's the question of how do you use all the information that you've got to make sure that personal goal for me isn't fulfilled.